I'm Heather and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a place where I coach busy moms with little kids who want to grow their businesses without burning out. Today, we're talking about how to not feel guilty for making lots of money. The reason we're addressing this topic is not because I'm comfortable with it at all, because I'm not, but because I'm uncomfortable with it and because I imagine that there are lots of you watching who are working towards different financial goals and feeling some feelings that are very uncomfortable along that journey. So I want to back up and tell you a little bit of my story. I started my coaching business in September of 2019 because my family was in a stressful situation. I wanted to be able to contribute to our family's income. So I started to look at my options, and one of my options was to go back to a full-time teaching job, which I really didn't want to do, or to start my own business. So my first goal was to replace my teacher's salary by doing a life coaching business in 2.5 days a week. That was the original goal. And I started in September, and by the time I got to January, I realized that I was really on target to hit that goal and I wanted to increase it. And so I decided for 2020, my goal was to make $100K in 2020 in revenue. The reason that I wanted to do this wasn't because I wanted to be rich. It wasn't because I wanted to have lots of money so that I could spend lots of money on myself and buy myself lots of stuff, and it wasn't about that. What it was about, though, was choosing a goal that felt impossible so that I would have to up-level my thinking, up-level the way that I was operating to be able to do that. It was really about the person that I was going to become, as well as all of the people that I would be able to help. Well, just last week, I met that goal. I added it all up and realized that I had hit the 100K for 2020, which is just insane because it's been during COVID and it was with my kids being home for 6 months of that. But the feelings that came after realizing I hit that goal were guilt and shame. And I was talking to a spiritual mentor of mine last week, and he was like, it's really interesting that that's what came up for you. You should really pay attention to that. And I was like, yeah, that is strange, because instead of just being excited, which I was excited as well, there was just this incredible amount of guilt that, first of all, I definitely should never tell anybody that I did this. And second of all, that if I made a lot of money, that it actually meant that I was money hungry, or that I loved money, or that I was focused on it, or that it was the end goal for me. I wanted to open this conversation up, not because I have so many answers, but because I think there's a lot of us that have a lot of guilt and shame around making money, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a woman of faith. It's something that we're not really given examples for, and there's a lot of messaging that I think we have believed unconsciously that affects the way that we think about it. Here's the one thing I do want to really challenge you on. I want you to think about why you are so uncomfortable. If you are uncomfortable with making lots of money, why you're uncomfortable with that. And if you were to think about how a man in a similar job and a similar age, similar demographic as you were to make that much money, would you still feel that uncomfortable? I recently heard about a survey that was done between men and women on the topic of money, and the answers that they gave were almost polar opposites. So where a man was asked, do you think making a lot of money would hinder you from having close friendships? He said no. He said making lots of money will help me have more close friendships. A woman asked the very same question, answered yes, I think making lots of money will hinder me from having close friendships. Another question was, do you think making a lot of money serves your family or takes away from your family? And when men were asked the question, they answered that yes, they felt that making lots of money served their family. And you can guess where this is going. When women were asked the same question, they answered no, they felt that making lots of money actually took away from their family. So much of our thinking around money is tied to our gender norms. It's tied to how our culture has painted a picture of what the role of a woman is and what the role of a man is. And even though we're breaking free from a lot of that, there is still this undercurrent that a woman should not make a lot of money. I wanted to open up this conversation, and I wanted to say that guilt is not an emotion that's going to serve you in a powerful way. Guilt is not going to help you be more generous. Guilt is not going to help you be less selfish. Guilt is never going to serve you. What's going to serve you is understanding your why. knowing that if part of your why is because you want to have a lot of money, either to serve and help your family or to give to other people, or to have that financial security for your future or for your legacy, for your children and your grandchildren, whatever it is, really understand your why, so that when you do hit those goals and those feelings do come, you can reconnect with what is the true reason that you are doing this. For me, it's understanding that the money is just a representation of the value that I'm bringing and the lives that I am helping to change. When I think about it that way, I am so proud of the 100K, because it's not about the money. It's not so that I can have it and so I can go buy a bunch of new clothes and go on a trip, although I do want to do both of those things. But that's not the point. The point is that I want to keep creating more and more value and helping more and more people. And this money represents all of the lives that I've been able to impact this past year and all of the value that I've been able to bring. One last thought is that I think there should be more women in the world with more money. I really do. If you have an interest in making money, I think it's your duty to go ahead and figure out how to make that money. Because we are very comfortable with a whole bunch of old white men having all the money. We never question that. We never seem to think that that's a problem. And I think that there should be way more women that are also in those positions, way more people of color, way more diversity in who is actually holding the wealth in our world. What do you think about this? Where are you at? Are you comfortable with the idea of making 100K? Are you comfortable with the idea of making $1 million? What comes up for you when you think about those things, and why? I'm really starting to ask those questions, and I would love to hear your thoughts. In the comments, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know where you're at. I would love to hear. All right, that's all for this week. I will talk to you later.